Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We will get kicked off here in just a little bit. We're giving everybody the opportunity to hop in and join us. So thank you again for joining, and give us about a 30-second buffer here, and we'll get going. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you again so much for joining. My name is Kevin Lawless. I lead our account management team here at Trusted Tech. I appreciate everyone so much for taking some time to come and hear from a great group that we have in store for you today to make sure we have a good understanding on what's on the horizon with Microsoft 365. And especially for the folks on the call, right? How we're approaching the next few months in looking at renewals, looking at where you're taking your Microsoft environments, right? So as I mentioned, you're going to have a great group of folks here to talk to you about what's on the horizon. If we want to get to the next slide, we'll be talking about what's on the horizon in coming here in July, right? Which is beyond just a price increase. There's a ton of things that are happening with the Microsoft licenses and the offerings that Microsoft has come forth with that we want to make sure our customers fully understand or are taking advantage of, right? So the team here today is going to go through a bit of a deep dive on what those changes are, right, and from a feature perspective, and make sure that they're aligned with that you all understand that we're trying to make sure they're aligned with the needs that you have as an organization, right? There's a couple different ways we can approach the renewal, and we want to talk through some of that with you guys here today. But it's not just about the renewal; it's also about what we're doing with your environment post renewal. So you hear more about that, as well as some exciting stuff on the horizon from a Microsoft Fabric perspective. So I am very, very excited, not only because of the opportunity to speak with all of you today, but because of who we've brought to the call today to kind of guide us through this. So with us today, obviously, you're hearing from me. Luckily for everyone on the call, this is the entirety of my portion of the webinar. But we have a great crew here, right? So Andrew on the Trusted Tech account management team will be joining, helping us guide us along. But we've got Jill, Melissa, Michelle, and Joe from Microsoft here to really take us further in the conversation. Just from my perspective, the biggest opportunity here is working with both Trusted Tech and Microsoft as we approach your renewal here in 2026. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are. Really, really appreciate it, and looking forward to the content. With that, I'll introduce Jill. And Jill, thank you again for everything you've done in prep for this, and very, very excited to have you with us today.
Yeah, we are too. Thank you, Kevin. Hi, everyone. As Kevin mentioned, I'm Jill Westman. I'm one of the many partner solution sales managers here at Microsoft. We serve as the conduit between Microsoft and Trusted Tech, ensuring there's tight collaboration between our respective sales teams. So Trusted Tech is one of our most valued partners. They are a true extension of Microsoft, which is why we wanted to hold this session together today. So as Kevin mentioned earlier, we want to start by saying thank you, not only for joining us today, but also for your business. Thank you for being a longtime valued customer. And no matter what segment your company may fall into here at Microsoft, because we are so large, you could be in our SME and C segment, which is considered a managed account, or SMB segment, which are typically unmanaged segment. Think of all of us together as your cohesive team of resources to help you. And after this webinar, we'll either be reaching out to you to meet so we can help you understand all of the products that your company uses today, or maybe doesn't use but pays for, where we can have a conversation and talk to you about strategic alignment, finding areas of opportunity where we can help set you up for more success and to be more secure in your nature. There will also be a button at the end of the presentation that you can click as well to set up that meeting. So thank you again so much. And with that, please allow me to introduce Andrew Ramos from Trusted Tech.
Thanks so much, Jill. I'm super excited for this presentation. And I know I've been speaking with my clients on the Trusted Tech side when it comes to, some of the big changes that are going to be coming up in July and really moving forward in the Microsoft space. And in my opinion, for the better, right? So we'll get into the first section here. July 2026 is a big date for Microsoft, right? And this is more than just a price increase. So if we want to go to the next slide here, we can really start giving a high level overview of what's going on and, really some of the big changes that are going to be happening effective July 1st, right? And I really want to hone in on the fact that this isn't just an M365 price increase, right? We're going to be seeing a lot of different new value coming to the suites, all the way down to the business basic and business standard licenses, up to the ME5. And in just a moment, we will be chatting about the Microsoft 365 E7 license as well. So what does that mean for you all? Additional productivity, security, and AA products are being valued right here and added in addition to the July 1st price increase. The real desired outcome for our clients is the fact that, one, we want to make sure that you guys are realizing the value of what Microsoft has implemented into these SKUs over the past several years. I mean, really, there hasn't been a big change in the Microsoft space from a SKU perspective, really since 2022 from a pricing standpoint, right? So the second thing we need to do is make sure we strategize around your renewal and even if that's before the renewal, to start chatting about what your Microsoft 365 licensing environment looks like today. That's where Trusted Tech and Microsoft are partnering together to really help out our clients. And, we also have Melissa here as well, who I've partnered with in the past, who has really been helping out with my clients when it comes to figuring out what you guys are utilizing currently, what you guys would like to be utilizing, and really where Microsoft licensing fits into there, right? So
Hey, Andrew.
you can
Yep. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. I mean, what we're looking at here is, years of innovation that's been infused into Microsoft products. And so I'm so happy to be here with the Trusted Tech team today, talking with all of your clients around the value that's been brought to Microsoft products. And since 2022, we've continued to see innovations in our security, in our management layers, in our compliance, and that's been without a price increase. So we are going to see, a slight price increase hitting in July for some of the M365 products, not all of them. But with that, and what I think is more important and more exciting is the value that's coming, the value that's going to be packed into our offerings going forward. So this is a great visual that kind of talks through, today what many of you are probably using from Intune suites and security. These are features that you're paying for that are going to start to be bundled into those SKUs. So Andrew, did you want to walk us through some of these and how you're seeing customers use this value today?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I love this visual here because obviously there's going to be a lot of changes coming to the SKUs effective July. And really the value that you're getting in the features that are going to be included in things like the Microsoft 365 E3 license, the E5 license, and then some of the value that's even being included in the business premium as well. I mean, the value compared to what the price increase is really night and day, right? So one quick example that I really love to give on the ME3 side is effective July 1st, Microsoft Defender for Office Plan 1 will be included, along with some different Intune features, including Intune Advanced Analytics, Intune Remote Help, and Intune Plan 2. Now, traditionally, if you were to add these license features onto your ME3 a la carte, you would have to pay an additional $14.50 in order to receive all of those benefits. On July 1st, the pricing is only going to go up by $3, right? So that's an additional $11.50 of value that you're receiving. Same thing with the ME5, right? The Microsoft 365 E5 license is going to be including the Microsoft Cloud PKI license, the Microsoft Intune Suite features, and then also rolling out Security Copilot within this core suite per user. That's $11.60 of value. Price of the ME5 is only going to go up by $3, right? So that's really the thing here, is making sure that you all as clients of Trusted Tech are understanding the value of what's going to be included in these SKUs moving forward. And to Melissa's point, the business premium is one of those SKUs that isn't even going to go up in price, right? So that's something that we can discuss as well. Not only are additional features being included in the business premium, you're not going to see a price increase on that specific SKU. So I'm super excited for the future of Microsoft and what's going to continue to be included in these licenses specifically. With that being said, though, let's dive a little bit more into the weeds when it comes to, what features come in what license, and really look at a comparison deep dive when it comes to the different SKUs. Obviously, the big SKUs that a lot of our clients are utilizing are the Business Premium, the Microsoft 365 E3 license, and the Microsoft 365 E5 license. And I always like to caveat by saying it really depends where you're at in your Microsoft journey from a security and compliance perspective, right? I work with clients on a daily basis that are using business basic licenses or business standard licenses. They are specifically interested in the productivity applications. And, part of my job is to show them exactly where, they should probably go when it comes to security and compliance and what licenses fit that mold along with their budget, right? So, just from a high level, E3 comes with the core productivity and security and compliance features. You're getting Entra ID Plan 1 to make sure your conditional access policies are set up for success. You're getting standard usage and activity reporting when it comes to Microsoft Purview. Moving into the ME5, I get this question all the time. When does it make sense to, make the switch and move up to something like an E5, right? In my opinion, that's really going to come into play when you're looking for advanced security within the Microsoft Defender suite. Think, Defender XDR, enhanced threat protection, automated investigation and threat hunting. Those are big things that are coming up in topics of conversation with my clients. And the other big thing is advanced Microsoft Purview capabilities, right? So in the world of AI, in the world of data governance, the Microsoft Purview suite is going to be huge moving forward. And if that's something you guys are implementing internally today, whether it's Microsoft Copilot or other AI initiatives that you have, that's definitely something that, in my opinion, is really going to be, a big topic of discussion internally with your stakeholders, right? Now, the big announcement on top of, some of the features coming included in these licenses is the Microsoft 365 E7, which was announced about 3 weeks ago now by Microsoft, and will be open and available for procurement effective May 1st, 2026 to all Trusted Tech and all Microsoft customers, right? So really the value of the E7 is essentially it's an E5 with Microsoft Copilot included, along with the Microsoft 365 Entra Suite for global secure access and private internet access, and then Agent 365, which is a new agentic feature platform that's going to be consolidated to really figure out, from a control plane perspective, what are you guys doing right now from an agentic AI standpoint, and what is the registry, lifecycle, and observability and security for those agents are. Joe, I'm going to pass it over to you. Joe is on the Microsoft side, and he's a security specialist here. I know that Microsoft has a lot of different products and services that are available to our clients here at Trusted Tech since they are buying the Microsoft products through us. You want to speak a little bit to that as well?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Andrew, and I appreciate the time, everyone. As Andrew stated, I'm the security specialist here at Microsoft. I was previously a modern work specialist, so I've been with the Microsoft for about 8 years now, and I've lived in the M365 ecosystem the entirety of my career at Microsoft. So I've seen and kind of witnessed all these changes firsthand, and I think there's a tremendous amount of value that we can provide to organizations like yourself. But I think it's really important to make sure that all of the organizations on this call understand that in conjunction with Trusted Tech, we have a tremendous amount of resources and programs available that we can offer, and that's to determine technical validation, licensing optimization aspects, as well as just kind of an opportunity to understand what's the best fit for your use case in your organization. So one of the things I wanted to highlight is that Microsoft has a fully funded security assessment as well as M365 assessment. And it is led by Microsoft, but we can work in tandem with Trusted Tech to kind of identify where you sit as an organization today from a Microsoft perspective, but also third parties, and help compare that to the art of the possible in, say, an E5 or an E7. So this will not only uncover, duplicative costs that could potentially be displaced, but also it can identify potential gaps in your organization that, say, an E5 or an E7 would cover. It's, again, fully funded by Microsoft, no paperwork, no legal contracts or signatures. Generally takes upwards of 2 to 4 weeks at most, but that's with maybe a few hours a week in totality. And at the end of it, we put together a really nice TCO ROI cost analysis for you to review. So that's just one of the things we offer. Outside of that, we can work with Trusted Tech on workshops for data security, which is really fantastic if you're evaluating Purview for AI or not, as well as threat protection and cloud security as well. The last thing I wanted to, and I know Andrew's going to cover this in further slides, but we do have promotions available through the CSP solutions that are offered here, as well as deployment funding. So please do not hesitate to reach out to Andrew, myself, anybody else, because we have the capability to help you understand the full licensing stack here and determine if it's a good fit for your organization. So that's all I had to say on that aspect, Andrew. So back to you.
So much, Joe. And you bring up a good point, and we can take a look at, I can speak to some of the promotions here on the next slide regarding the E7. $99 MSRP. Once again, because of the promotions that are available to our clients on the CSP model, you're getting a 15% promotion right off the bat if you were to commit to 1 year net new E7 licensing, and then you get a 10% promotion if you were to upgrade and move to a 36-month commitment, right? So Microsoft is making this pricing very attractive, especially if our clients are already utilizing an E5 and a Copilot license. If you have those two SKUs right now, right off the bat, I can guarantee that the E7 with the promotions will most likely be cheaper, right? And on top of that, you're getting the Entra Suite and Agent 365 included already, right? I want to bring up a good point that Joe brought up as well, and we can start moving into the renewal strategies and options section of this webinar, because I think it's going to be super important to discuss what are the strategies and how can Trusted Tech and Microsoft partner with our end clients, right, to figure out what license is the best for them. Joe, you brought up a good point regarding the security assessment. A lot of what I see internally here is SaaS sprawl, right? Where can one service be deprecated and consolidated into a Microsoft solution that's available in an E3, an E5, or an E7, right? And in order to do that, it's my job, it's the dedicated account management team's job, and it's the job of the lovely people at Microsoft to start planning with you guys early, right? What are your budgets, right? What type of compliance standards do you have within your industry specifically? Or do you need to be HIPAA compliant, SOC 2 compliant? All of these things are things we need to be discussing early, right? So I'm having QBRs with my clients. We need to align your renewal timeline with when you guys have your budget planning cycles. We got to consider these upcoming price changes that are coming up in July as well. And if that means meeting 6 months before your renewal, then so be it, right? That's something that, that is on the partner, in Trusted Tech and in Microsoft to make you guys aware of, right? And of course, leveraging a lot of these milestones as checkpoints. Hey, are we still good to go to, start discussing this 3 months early, 6 months early, and aligning what your internal schedule looks like. So the way I kind of like to look at this is, there's a specific renewal decision framework that I use with all of my clients, right? Where are you guys at in your security stack? Maybe you're a smaller organization, but you just hit your 300th business premium license, right? We have a poll here as well. What are you guys considering even upgrading, right? And that's something that we discuss here in the renewal decision framework. If you're at 300 licenses of business premium, it's probably worth taking a look at moving to E3 or E5, depending on where you're at in your security stack. So make sure it's a scalable solution. Make sure that your users are actually, utilizing the features that come included in the licensing that you're already paying for. That's another big thing that we see as well. And then, of course, once we identify what those needs are, figuring out where we can upgrade the licenses, whether that's a subset of users depending on their job description, whether that's all of the users in the tenant. We want to make sure that it makes sense for your organization as well, right? Here's some other big promotions that I believe have been extended into Q3, right? The end of Q2 for June 30th, 2026, right? So obviously net new ME5, ME3, and now ME7 promotions are available on both a 1-year and a 3-year commitment length. You can see the varying different promotions and how much you would be receiving off of those SKUs. And then Copilot is another huge topic of discussion with my clients as well. Microsoft is offering promotions for, net new Copilot business licenses, and then bundling some of these SKUs like the Business Premium and Copilot for Business too. So these are all things that are available to you through Microsoft on the CSP model, right? And you can see here, right? These are some of the offerings that are coming up. So MSRP, depending on how many users you're looking to upgrade at once, you're getting 15, 20, 30, even 40% off of MSRP for Copilot. And, we want to make sure that you're getting the value included there. And that's where Trusted Tech and Microsoft can come in and really discuss that with you all. One final thing before we get into our Q&A here, and I know I'm hitting you all with a lot of information. It's very important information, but I want to make sure we have time for questions as well. As you're meeting with myself, you're meeting with your dedicated account manager at Trusted Tech or Microsoft. The renewal is complete. We've upgraded your licenses to E5. Okay, now what, right? And I like to call this the post-renewal optimization. So we need to figure out, and one of the things that I like to tell my clients, IT directors, VPs of IT, you're going to sit down with your CFO or, the person who signs the dotted line, right? We need to start understanding that Microsoft is a strategic investment. And in my experience over the past 3 years of working at Trusted Tech, I think that's becoming more apparent in the industry. Microsoft licensing is not just a cost center. This is how modern organizations run their business, right? So we want to make sure that we address the total cost of renewal and view this as a strategic investment, and make sure we look at everything holistically from a total cost of ownership perspective. Do we have other third parties we can consolidate into a Microsoft SKU, right? Do we need to make sure that what is the opportunity cost of, maybe some type of risk and incident response happening? If I don't have an ME5 or an ME3, or I don't have Defender set up for success. These are all things we need to take to, the leadership at our organizations and make sure that they're aware of, right? So that's definitely a big thing that I would say needs to happen after the renewal as well. And you can kind of see this post-renewal cycle that typically happens in my experience. We deploy the features that come included in the ME5 licensing. It is adopted internally by IT specifically and by the rest of the users. From there, we measure what the adoption rate is. We optimize based off of how much or how little we are seeing from an adoption perspective. We sit back down and we reassess, right? And it's really a cycle, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't want you spending money on licenses you don't need. And similarly, if you know for a fact you need to upgrade your licenses, we want to make sure that the features that come included in those licenses are successfully being deployed, right? And that's really my job as an account manager is look at your IT infrastructure holistically, look at your Microsoft licensing holistically, and make sure that you can show measurable business outcomes and not just an invoice at the beginning of the month, right? Because this technology is amazing. The things that Microsoft is including in the SKUs as of July 1st and moving forward, I've seen this technology on the back end. I've worked with Joe, I've worked with Jill. It's fantastic, and it's only getting better, right? So we want to make sure that you're adopting it to the best of your capabilities while still maintaining a reasonable price point. Perfect. Okay, I know we have a couple minutes left, and then we want to leave it for questions as well. Michelle, real quick, I'm going to pass it over to you just so you can speak about Fabric and some of the stuff that we are super excited for when it comes to Azure and the Fabric space and data lakes in general.
Yes, excited to be here. Thank you so much. So my name is Michelle Addy. I'm with the extended team here from Microsoft, and I have a particular focus that I'm driving the infrastructure and Azure side of the business. That also includes your data and AI. So I want to talk to you about what we're hearing every organization thinking about today is how to get real value from the data you already have, especially as AI becomes part of your everyday business. So let's just think of one simple question. Is your data ready for AI? You don't need to know what Microsoft Fabric is yet. But what we're hearing across so many partners and so many customers and so many leaders is that they are feeling the tensions between wanting to use AI and actually knowing if their data environment is ready. And a comment you're going to hear quite a bit is your data is only as good. Your AI is only as good as your data. So over the next few minutes, I'll explain the challenges we're seeing across organizations, quickly introduce Microsoft Fabric, and I want to talk about how a partner like Trusted Tech can help turn this from concept into a reality and something every customer on this call can use. Oh, thank you for switching the slides. Okay, so here's the reality of what we're seeing today. Most organizations already have the data they need. So you probably have it in multiple places, but you don't have it in a unified foundation. Like, where's that one-stop shop to go? Data lives in multiple tools. It lives in different vendors. You probably have duplication of data everywhere. It's probably limited, and there's always that increase in security and compliance risk. With Fabric, a lot of what we're seeing and what our customers that are using it today are saying is that 70% of companies acknowledge that their data architecture is just not ready. So I'm just going to pause there for a second. If you think about your own environment, how many tools are you using? How many vendors are you using? How many copies of your data are you managing today, right? How do you put that in a unified AI-powered SaaS platform? And that's where Microsoft Fabric comes into play. So Fabric is designed to bring your data, right? Your engineering, your analytics, your real-time intelligence, and the governance together in one place. So at the center of AI is something called OneLake, right? It's that single platform. Fabric also takes that single platform, and it includes something built in, which is Copilot, which means your technical teams and your business users can turn raw data into insights using natural language, not just code, but it can be used across your entire organization. Customers using Fabric have reported 379% ROI in 3 years. There's 31,000 customers using it, and over 90% of Fortune 500 customers are adopting it. So it's real. You don't have to figure it out alone, right? Like, this is where a partner like Trusted Tech is going to jump in here and help you design a unified data platform that fits your business needs. They're going to do this by providing their Fabric expertise. They're going to do this by reducing risk through workshops, offering free trials, proof of concepts, all of that goodness so that you're prepared for your Fabric journey. I think the first thing, if you are dabbling and thinking about like, gosh, yeah, I don't feel like my data is ready for AI. The first order of business, ask your AE at Trusted Tech for a Fabric readiness assessment. They will help you take it to the next level. So this chart here is just very high level bird's eye view of what the Fabric transformation looks like. So again, Fabric is that single unified data platform. It's everything you see in this graphic is a separate product. With Fabric, brings it all together into the same platform. So all your tools are there. Everything you need is in one spot. Centralized security and compliance, that's super, super important. We need that. And so if you think about, okay, great, I've heard this Fabric pitch for, a few minutes. How should I be thinking about it? Fabric is the difference between managing your data across a dozen of disconnected systems versus having that one clean foundation that's actually ready for your analytics and your AI. So I think if you're thinking about your own data, right, asking yourself back to that original question, is your data ready for AI? Fabric is about making that a yes. It's that unified data, governs it consistently, it unlocks values, and with a partner like Trusted Tech alongside with you, you can make this journey into something that is very practical and it works for your organization. So Again, please reach out to your AE and ask them for that fabric readiness assessment.
We have, and thank you so much, Michelle. We have a lot of different service offerings, not only, specific to Trusted Tech, but, in tandem with Microsoft that are available to you all as clients of Trusted Tech, whether that's, a Microsoft 365 licensing assessment, whether that's a fabric readiness assessment, whether it's what Joe was speaking about when it comes to security specifically. If you guys are interested in setting up a discussion with your dedicated account manager, you're ready to renew, you're ready to start looking at upgrades, click the Start Your Renewal button that you see on the slide here. It's going to take you to a contact form. Fill it out. We're going to get on a call with you, and we're going to discuss all of your Microsoft needs. I know we are at time here, and I know we hit you with a whole lot of information. I just want to say thank you so much to the Microsoft team. This was fantastic. We're going to be doing a lot more of these, guys. We want to make sure that you're well equipped and prepared for what's coming down the pike when it comes to Microsoft, and make sure you feel supported by us here internally as your CSP partner, but by Microsoft as well. I want to answer a few more questions. I know we're a minute over here. I'm sure my next meeting will offer me a couple minutes, so that's totally fine. I saw a couple questions that I wanted to address. Okay, couple things. This is going to affect both nonprofit SKUs as well. So that was one of the things that I saw. And Melissa, thank you again for answering some of the questions in the chat here, just right out the gate. One question that I see, which license would be comparable to a Microsoft 365 Business Premium, since that is the primary license that we use? It's an excellent question, and realistically, I would only recommend I typically recommend the Business Premium license for organizations that are at or below 300 users. And the reason that that's the case is Microsoft specifically, created this license for the small, for the SMB, tenants that are looking to slowly start rolling out Microsoft Defender, whether that's on the spam filtering and email protection side, whether that's on the EDR side, when it comes to mobile device management and Intune, when it comes to conditional access policies and Entra ID. This is the license I recommend for an organization that's below 300 users, right? It's relatively inexpensive in comparison to its other counterparts like the ME3 or the ME5, but it's still giving you those big 3 security features that are necessary. So to answer your question, which one would be comparable? I mean, if you're above 300 users, the next logical step up would be the Microsoft 365 E3 license. I'm trying to look and see if there's any other big questions here. Let's see. It's my understanding that with Fabric, if we want to take advantage of Copilot, it needs to run on public endpoints, which seems to be a step backwards from a security perspective. Oh, well, that's with Fabric, right? There's Fabric for there's Copilot for Fabric specifically that is being released on specific SKUs of Fabric, right? So that's not going to be running on public endpoints specifically. I know we're at time here. This was a fantastic discussion. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any additional questions, for example, Kevin, feel free to click on the link here. We can start setting you up with your dedicated account manager and get these questions answered from a more, security specific perspective. But thank you so much to everyone. Very nice seeing you here, and we're going to make sure we do more and more of these.
Yeah. We look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.